Patience is the ability to calm and quiet the mind, the thoughts, the mind, and center with our heart. When we are authentic and in our heart, we comprehend that there is nowhere to rush to. There is nowhere to get to. Everything is already here. Patience is letting go of waiting. Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me today in this ever faster, seemingly faster moving external world that we consider a world, our reality. It seems to be necessary to cultivate patience. So I feel guided to talk about patience today, as it seems that there is a lot of stress, anxiety, hectic going around in this, what we perceive as external reality, external world, what we call world. Now, just to start, I would like to say that patience can be recognized and realized when we stop, give up waiting. Because what patience implies to many beings is that we need to wait for something to either shift or happen, for something, waiting for something. And I say, once we give up waiting, we release the energy of waiting for something, we inherently have patience. So patience is not patiently waiting for something, whatever that may be, but patience is the ability to let go of waiting and the anxiety and stress that comes with waiting, the waiting energy. Okay? Once we stop waiting and just live without waiting or looking forward to something, we end up with patience. Okay? To go a little bit more into detail here, I would like to imply that waiting really means to expect something to happen. Okay? So if we can let go of expectations that the mind poses, because the mind is where all the stories and all the beliefs sit. Believes that something should be different, or believes that something should be happening, or believes that we need to be doing something in order to move forward. If we can release and drop these beliefs and expectations of the mind, we can release and stop waiting for something to happen. I hope that makes sense. Because if we look closely at why we have the feeling we need patience in our life, it is because something causes stress and anxiety, and we feel overwhelmed or stressed out or anxious. Again, that ties to the energy of waiting on something or some being, somebody, for something to happen. Okay? And the energy of waiting, again, is tied to expectations of something we hold in our mind that we're expecting to be in a certain way. And that, again, ties to beliefs and stories of the mind. Now, I already made plenty of videos about the mind and the stories of the mind and about limiting beliefs. So I don't want to go into too much detail here. You're welcome to look at my previous videos. I have plenty listed, longer ones, shorter ones, whatever suits you best. I'm trying to not repeat myself over and over, but if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, okay? So when we can drop the expectations of the mind, the stories of the mind, the limiting beliefs of the mind, when we can move past the stories of the mind and what the mind is telling us, that also changes the energy of waiting on something, because we then internalize and recognize and realize that everything is already there, everything is already happening, and that everything happens at once. Now, this is a paradox, and it is difficult to comprehend with the mind, yes, but the heart will get this message, okay? Because once we drop the stories and beliefs of the mind and bring in our true nature, which our true nature is unconditional love and compassion for self and the perceived others for all that is. And unconditional love knows no rushing, no hurry, no having to be somewhere, having to get somewhere. We recognize and realize there is nowhere else to be but here in this present moment. Okay? I hope that makes sense. And once we can internalize, realize, and recognize that there is only this present moment, when we go beyond the stories of the mind and the beliefs and all that the mind is telling us, that there really is just this moment right here, right now, then we shift. I don't want to say lose, because energy cannot be destroyed or eliminated in that sense, but we can shift the energy of expecting something to happen, and thus the energy of waiting for something to happen, which then brings us into patience, because patience really is letting go of waiting, letting go of expectations. Okay? Now, I realize that living this life, the perceived life in our perceived reality, sometimes calls for being on time, even though time does not exist, it's a construct of the mind, but it calls to be on time for, let's say, be there at work on time, or get a bus on time, or hand in paperwork on time. Now, if you have difficulties with timing, that really has nothing to do with patience. It has more to do with being organized, and that's what the mind is good at, to organize things, to schedule things, okay? Using the mind as a useful tool to get things accomplished in the external and the perceived accomplished things that needs to be done in order to flow through life. Yes? So if you are having difficulties meeting deadlines or catching the bus or getting to work on time. That has nothing to do with patience. That has something to do with have a closer look at your schedule and how things work for you. Okay? Because if you have a job where you have to be up early and you don't like getting up early, maybe it is time to find a different job that more suits your life schedule, if you want to call it a schedule, your life circumstances. So that has nothing to do with being patient. Okay? But on the other hand, if you're sitting, going to work or wherever you need to go, at a bus stop or at a train station, and you're waiting, okay? Patience is just letting go of waiting and the inner knowing that the bus will come or the train will come. You don't have to sit and anticipate it or expect it or sit there waiting, because that's what's causing the anxiety or the stress, is the energy of waiting for something or somebody in that, respect. So if we can let go of the energy of waiting and expecting something and trust that the bus will come, the train will come, also trust that if the bus does not come or if the train does not come, we will figure it out. Okay? It is a waste of energy to sit waiting for something to happen. In general, no matter what it is, I know a lot of bodies, a lot of us, will sit and wait for something to happen, something they look forward to. That is taking you out of the present moment. That is putting your mind and all your energy and focus into the future, into something that hasn't happened yet. Okay? The future and the past take you out of the present moment. Now, to make arrangements or plan a birthday party, for example, that is okay. But then to sit for weeks or months and wait for a certain thing to happen, that is a waste of energy. The energy that could be better, if you so want, used in the present moment by recognizing and realizing that there is no point in waiting. It is a wasted energy. And once we recognize and realize that and internalize and let go of expectations that the mind is telling us and waiting, okay, once we can let that go, let that energy go, or rather transmute that energy into something more beneficial, more useful in the now moment, that brings us peace. It brings us comfort, if you so want, the inner knowing that everything will be happening or not happening, whatever it is you're waiting on. And that peace is what brings us patience, what gives us patience. Patience is having that inner peace, knowing that everything is okay, all is well, and happening as it is happening by itself, without us having to sit and have expectations or wait. I hope that makes sense. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. Grounding into the present moment and really finding that inner peace and the inner knowing that everything will be okay, and then we can let go of this energy of expecting something or waiting for something, okay, which will then be beneficial for the physical body, because we don't have all this compact, condensed energy of anxiety and stress that affects physically our physical body. Okay, now as far as patience or anxiety, because this is all the connected energy. Being patient is letting go of anxiety, of stress, of waiting, of that type of energy, the go, 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 not being able to stop, not being able to rest, constantly feeling like you're on a hamster wheel. running, but really not getting anywhere. Okay? And so in order to be able to just center and ground yourself, anchor yourself into the present moment, you can do breath work anytime, any moment, because the breath is always available to us. And it doesn't cost anything. It just takes a couple of minutes. You don't have to sit and breathe for 20 minutes. You can do it for 2-3 minutes and just breathe in deeply and breathe out through your mouth also deeply. You can, in between breaths, hold your breath for a couple of seconds. All this is very beneficial to recalibrate, reset, center your nervous system and bring you into the body, the physical body, into the present moment. Get you out of your mind, because the mind is what's causing all this energy of having to run, having to do this, having to do that. Okay? Now, and I would like to say this, I am not pointing to, oh, just be late for your job, or oh, just miss the bus. This is not what we're saying here. Okay? What we're saying here is that if we let go of expectations and the energy of waiting, we come to inner peace, and that is what we call patience. Patience is really not patiently waiting for something, but letting go of waiting, letting go of expectations, and that gives you the patience to just live through whatever is coming there. Okay? Because whether you sit patiently waiting, or whether you're calm, collected, centered, grounded, anchored into the present moment and just face whatever there is to face, it makes no difference for life. It really doesn't. The only thing, if you let go of the waiting and that anxiety and that stress that comes with it, your body and your nervous system will feel much better. And your whole experience in this external, what we perceive as external world, will be perceived better, because you do not have this constant hamster wheel going. Okay? So in conclusion, and before I talk off my head again like I sometimes do in my videos, patience really is the internalizing, recognizing and realizing that we bypass the mind by letting go of all the stories, by letting go of all the beliefs, and live in the moment, which takes out the energy of expectations and waiting for something, and that will then be beneficial for our physical body, for our mental health, if you so want, for our emotional health, because all this compact energy of anxiety and stress is a very dense energy, very dense, and you can feel it within the body. That's why a lot of people, when they're anxious and stressed out, get knots in their stomachs, perceive knots in their stomachs, or get a headache. It is a very dense energy, and it life becomes more easy and more flowing when we get out of this energy, or we don't get rid of it per se, but we transmute it into a energy of peace and unconditional love for self and every perceived thing out there, so that we don't sit and wait and get anxious. Okay? Again, this is not saying just don't show up to your job. That's not what this is saying. It is saying that if you have difficulties being punctual, which really is not necessarily to do with patience, but that has something to do with how you are living your life. And perhaps it is time, if you have difficulties with what's going on in your life, perhaps if that is causing you stress and anxiety, then perhaps you need to take a closer look at certain aspects of your life and make changes that will feel better for you. Okay, now change is not always easy, and I'm not saying it will be easy. Okay, life is never easy. That's just a construct of the mind, that everything should be easy and for free, and that we should just be sitting and receiving. That's not how life works. Okay, that's not how we designed this reality to be. Yeah. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll be happy to explain further if that feels needed. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for making the present moment with this video. And I would like to thank everybody who has been with me over the past half year. I think it's been now that I had my channel going. I really appreciate every being that is here. I appreciate everybody who's not here also, because that's okay too. So again, thank you so much. I see you, I appreciate you, I honor you. The light in me recognizes that same light in you, because we are all that same light. One consciousness, one light. Okay? So much love and blessings. Namaste.